everyone, and welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and today we have Jason Watson. Now, Jason, many of you may remember from his critically acclaimed roles in The Crown and Hold the Sunset, where he played opposite comedy legend John Cleese. Well, he returns in Series 2 of McDonald and Dobbs. Now, we talk about some new twists in Series 2 of the show and how in many ways he brought a little bit of the U.S. to his character. He channeled his own Colombo, if you will, played, of course, by Peter Faulk, to really kind of hone in even more and give another layer to DS Dobbs. Now, as I said, this is Series 2 of the mystery. If you have not yet seen it, it's very clever. It's about DS Dobbs, as we said, a quiet, unassuming police detective who's paired with a true tour de force in DCI McDonald, played by Tala Gouveia. Now, this mismatched couple just has the right amount of quirky chemistry that makes the show a true delight. Now, it features contemporary crime stories told with warmth and humor. The series follows the mismatched duo as they solve crimes in Britain, in one of the most historic cities in the entire country, and that, of course, being the beautiful area of Bath. So, Jason, my friend, it's good to chat with you. Let's talk about what attracted you to return for a second series of McDonald and Dobbs.
I suppose one of the things that drew me to it is often, it nearly is always the character, and he Dobbs is such a brilliantly complex character, and he's a kind of seemingly low status, doesn't bang his own drum, doesn't necessarily light up a room when he walks in. You know, he's a kind of methodical and shy person, and it doesn't mean he's any less capable than anyone else. And he's, I suppose you could say, a typically English character in a way, very reserved, and lets his work do his talking, I suppose. And he's a guy who's been behind a desk for 10, 15, 20 years doing cases in the police station, and he's given this sort of Indian summon, this opportunity by the powers that be at the police station. I think really they want to shuffle him off for retirement. So they put him out in the field, and they put him together with the brilliant Tala Gouveia, who is this black female officer from London who is from the opposite side of the world in terms of that they're so unalike, dissimilar, the two characters. They're put together almost like they're supposed to fail, and they both don't. They succeed, and they grow, and they become this great sort of partnership. And they learn much about how to solve cases and about each other. But I think what's great about Dodds is that he's seemingly someone who is a bit of a pushover, and but underestimate him at your peril. He's got a sharp mind, and even though he's got a little black notebook, and Tyler's got an iPad, and is very much a digital being, Dodds is an analog being, but he's no less clever for it. So, and I just love. I mean, he's not unlike Colombo. I mean, and I did watch a bit of Colombo, and what a performance by Peter Faulk. It's you underestimate him at your peril, don't you? And I think there's a lot of Dodds in that.
I think one of the fun things about the show, and I just saw the first episode, and that was that, as you were saying, Talia is a mile a minute, fast-paced, go for it all, kind of person, while Dodds is like, okay, I see what you're saying here, but let's reel it back a little bit, and it's kind of that yin-yang balance kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We were doing all through the first, and as it's developed now into the second series, and we're looking forward to the third here, the dynamic, some of the dynamics stay the same, and some of the things are growing. And one of the things that's often the same is that Tala, she just sorts out, she wants to sort out the problem, mainline the problem, and Dodds just wants to be thorough, and so I end up slowing down the scenes, and Tala speeds them up, and it's that fantastic clash. It gives us both a sort of drama, but of course, I think what it does well and why it's done so well in the UK is this comedy element to it, which seems to happen very naturally and effortlessly. So I think that combination has really marked it out as a show that people are really enjoying, and I think that's probably the reason for its success. But yeah, no, Tala's, she goes in all guns blazing, and Dodds is, just catching up a bit. But what's great about it, even throughout the first series, is that maybe McDonald, Tala's character, realizes you can't always do that. It doesn't always work that you go in and just, go in all guns blazing, and maybe Dodds realizes that he's got to change his way. So, and that, I think that great dynamic between the two of us is leading us in very interesting ways, interesting terms in the relationship and of course in the way that we solve the crimes.
Jason, one of the things that I saw early on in the show, and this is, shows like this take a little while to build sometimes, but in your case, it seems like you and Talia, kind of hit it off right from the get-go, and there's a chemistry there that normally takes a couple of shows to get going. You guys were there, almost not necessarily from the get-go, but certainly from certainly midway through the episode, you could feel that there was a real strong chemistry between the two.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was cast first, and then we were fortunate enough to meet with a few other actors, and those actors were all incredibly sort of. It's very humbling when you're at the end of things and people coming in and see how the work that goes into it and this sheer sort of bravery and talent. But Tala came in and just completely smashed it. I mean, she was so on it, and she's worked. She's a young actress, but she's done some great work, and she's done some straight stuff, and she's done some comedy as well. A show called Cold Feet that was played so well over here, and she brought all that to it instinctively, and it just happened very, very quickly. And I think in the audition, and that was the reason why we were put together, and that just carried on into and that was the thing I think that we were saying, all of the production team as well as Tala and myself, that's the thing we need to protect. That's the sort of X factor, that's the ingredient that is unusual, and in a genre like this, it's an unusual ingredient, and that's the thing that has made it different. So and she's just a brilliant, she's a wonderful person and a great actor.
One of the other things, Jason, that I found interesting is that the city of Bath becomes kind of like a character in the show as well. It takes on, it shows us a little different part of Britain that we're those here across the pond are not necessarily used to.
Yeah, it's because I know that Americans love they enjoy history, British history, I'm sure, and the fascination with all families is born a little bit out of that. And we're just so happy to share what is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I mean, it's an intact Georgian city. There's acres of this wonderful sandstone, golden sandstone, and cut into with these black railings and the metalwork and this sort of Regency architecture, which is extraordinary. And we're so lucky that we got to shoot there. It's got a darker underbelly, perhaps, but it essentially remains a typically beautiful English city, and people flock to it. I mean, in terms, it is a character in itself, and when we shoot there, unfortunately, less so this last series that we shot, second series, but in the first series, it's full of people from all over the world coming to see its delights, But for us, it's almost like a puzzle in itself. There are, it's almost like Venice, there are alleyways, little roads that open up into courtyards, and it's almost like solving a case, and that one road leads to another that then a dead end. And I think that's all part of the thinking about the whole series. And it is a joy to play there. And of course, one of the things is great for Dodds because he's really a character that, as I said, doesn't really bang his own drum. He very much likes to lurk in the background and then just solve the case from afar almost. A lot of the beige costume is deliberate in that I sort of disappear into the backdrop of a sandstone of Bath, you kind of blink and you'll miss it, But it's a beautiful place to film with.
And the other part I think that that's fun about it is that, you do a wonderful job of tidying things up so that you're ready to go to the next case and the next project and the next adventure. And I think people, especially folks who like to binge shows, always are telling me, I love it when, we don't have to, when there's not stuff that lags over 2, 3, 4 shows. I'm like, okay. But one of the nice ways that you guys have done is it's well written, it's well acted, it's well directed. It's just a tight little show, which is, not always the case. So, good on you and the team for, putting together such a nice tight program that's entertaining.
Well, I'm so glad you've enjoyed it, and it's great though to be able to be involved in a show like this, and the denouement scenes at the end, those great classic scenes of solving the puzzle and focusing, sending the spotlight across all the characters, thinking who's done it, and and revealing the intelligence behind the deduction that gives us the resolution. All that is good fun, and you can almost, while you're filming, you can hear the music swelling, and you can feel that the case is being resolved. And I think audiences have always loved this kind of intricate puzzle that we're able to offer, I think, out of the UK, and from all those shows, from Morse to Poirot to the Agatha Christie's that we've done. So we follow in a very good tradition, and I think what the ingredient of our show is possibly that it's laced with this sense of humour, which has been deliberate and has grown organically out of performance. So we're delighted.
Special thanks to Jason Watson. We'll check in on McDonald and Dobbs Series 2 on Britbox. If you haven't seen it, by all means, check out Season 1 and then check out Season 2. All the information is in the show box below. We'll be back right after this from BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
At BMW, we know leaving the road wasn't easy, but anticipating our return taught us to appreciate every drive. The exhilaration of the ultimate adventure. Moments spent with your favorite co-pilots. And the freedom to explore just because. Our time to rejoin the road is finally here.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not one of the over 75,000 and counting people worldwide who've joined our little party, well, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, make it simple. It's free. You can find us at the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play. You can find us at Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube, just to name a few. Now, if you have an assistant device, like, say, Google, Alexa, or Siri, just ask them to play the latest edition of Stream On, and guess what? They'll do it for you, okay? Now, if that doesn't work, not to worry. Pull out the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, hit the favorite button or the subscribe button, and each week you're going to get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your phone, your tablet, or to both, okay? So please go out there and do that today. We greatly would appreciate it. Also, hit us up on social media. So many of you do, and we really love to get that feedback. You guys have been really super. We get stuff from Australia, from Canada, from the UK, from Sweden, from all over the world, where people are talking about what they're streaming and shows that they would like for us to focus on. And we do our best because you guys have been very good about giving us some leads, which we have taken, and many times they've become the focus of our show. So by all means, stay engaged. We greatly appreciate it. Okay. All right. So thanks a lot. Go out and sign up and get that subscription for free if you don't already have it. Okay. All right, cool. Now, we asked you what you're binging. You know, at the beach, maybe you're binging it, you know, out by the lake. Maybe it's in the backyard. Maybe you're just hanging out and with friends and want something to enjoy in the nighttime. We got it for you. You guys have come up with your list, and here's the list that we have for this week. Topping the list is Ozark, which is Netflix. It's a fantastic show. Highly recommend. Homecoming on Amazon Prime. Also, if you happen to be a subscriber of Showtime, that is there as well. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, another Amazon show. Good Girls on Netflix. You on Netflix. Tidying Up with Marie Kondo on Netflix. The Good Place on Netflix. And Black Mirror on Netflix. Okay, that's the group that you've sent us this week. Highly recommend Ozark. It is a show that at times can be a little slow, but it's very intense. Homecoming, not slow at all. Very, very intense, but very interesting stuff. So by all means, good on that. Who doesn't love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Funny show. Good Girls, Netflix, and You. Two fantastic shows. A little interesting program, Tidying Up with Marie Kondo on Netflix. The Good Place, highly recommend. Fantastic, funny show. And Black Mirror. Okay, so you have plenty of good stuff to do. Also, last week of the Olympics. Okay, so closing ceremonies are on Sunday night. If you do not have access to NBC locally in your area via an antenna or via one of the streaming services that has local channels, I always recommend Locast. It is free as a public service, but if you want to give them a $5 donation, you know, per month, it's very much well worth it to get all of your wonderful local broadcast stations in very pristine, clear color. So by all means, check out locast.org. That's locast.org to check out the final ceremonies of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Okay, so if you're an Olympic fan, that's where you need to be this weekend. All right. Next week, we're going to be talking about a brand new Starz show, and it's highly anticipated. It's called Heels. Stars Stephen Amell. Many of you remember Stephen from his work as Oliver Queen. That's right, on Green Arrow, 7 years he spent there. He is a big wrestling fan, and Heels is about wrestling, and it's a very good show. We'll talk a little bit, as I said, more about it next week. Mike O'Malley. Many of you know Mike for his many different shows on television, which included, of course, the Mike O'Malley Show, as well as his role on Glee. And absolutely amazing guy, great producer and writer, and he's one of the men backing this show Heels, which, as I said before, is going to be, I think, going to be a hit. I think you're going to like it. Starz show Heels next week. Mike O'Malley, producer of the show, will be with us. Okay. All right, cool. Well, look, folks, have a very safe and a very enjoyable weekend. We have had a lot of fun this week, and we're going to have fun next week, because that's what we do here. We bring you fun. Special thanks to our entire team here at Stream On. Have a wonderful week, folks. Catch you next time with Mike O'Malley from Heels.